Joining me now, Pennsylvania Congressman Guy Reschenthaler. He's also former U.S. Navy JAG officer, and he has just been tapped to serve as Chief Deputy Whip in the 118th Congress. Congrats, Congressman.
Thank you, Chris.
Alarming report there alleging that government officials used a secret Twitter portal to suppress our constitutionally protected free speech. If this is all true, and the investigation concludes that this is all factual, an incoming freshman congressman told me he was committed to authoring and submitting this law, punishments for government officials who steal our constitutional rights. Where are you on this?
Well, I think there's also a way that we can strengthen the civil justice system. I think that if you have a private cause of action where you get treble damages, meaning triple damages or presumed damages, for example, and attorney fees, and you stripped away immunity from individuals in the government who violate the Bill of Rights, for example, or other constitutional protections, that would put an end to this right away. But the fact that this was a private company does not mean there weren't constitutional violations, Chris, and here's why. If the government is using a private actor, a private individual, or a private company as an agent of that government agency, then that individual or that private company becomes an agent of the government. Therefore, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights apply to that individual, to the private corporation. So I would make the argument as a lawyer that the First Amendment was violated here because you had individuals within the government directing Twitter, Facebook, Google, you name it, to act on the behest of the federal government. That's when those corporations, that's when those players inside the corporations became agents of the government, depriving the United States citizens of the First Amendment protections.
Okay, well, look, I understand, and I do believe if those in Twitter broke the law, they should go to jail as well. But you see, we have too many people now in government, Congressman, who feel completely free to break the law. Barack Obama, he made an unconstitutional recess appointment, and that recess appointment did severe damage to the United States, as you well know. He did that severe damage, and guess what? He knew he would suffer no consequences. Barack Obama knew that as a man who was elected for 4 years, the only thing that could take him out of office was an election, and so he could disrupt and he could violate our constitutional rights at will. And the Democrats have figured this out, Congressman. The Democrats have figured out they're just going to run roughshod over our rights because there is no punishment, and that's what I'm after. I'm about punishing government when it betrays our rights, and they deserve it, especially this government. Let me move on to something else here. WNBA left-winger, her name is Brittany Griner. She's been fired in exchange for, well, this notorious Russian arms dealer. His name is Victor Bout. He was convicted in 2011 on conspiracy to kill U.S. citizens and officials, delivery of anti-aircraft missiles, and providing aid to terrorist organizations. Great guy. This exchange leaves behind 2 Americans, including a former U.S. Marine, Paul Whelan, and one of your constituents, a history teacher, Mark Fogel. Griner hates our nation. She hates our national anthem, saying it shouldn't be played at basketball games. Here's Joe Biden's White House said that Miss Griner is emblematic of what it is to be an American. What do you say, Congressman?
Well, do I think Griner is an American hero? No, absolutely not. Do I think that she should have been brought home? Yes, because she's an American citizen. However, part of the deal, when you're trading the merchant of death, Victor Bout, a guy who has the blood of Americans on his hands, a guy that sold and smuggled arms all over the globe, oftentimes to different sides of the same conflict. Okay, when you're trading somebody like that, you should at least bring home more than just one American. And the fact that Griner was prioritized over a Marine, over a history teacher, shows you where this administration puts priorities. They put it on anybody that has celebrity, anybody that is in their intersectional hierarchy, for example, anybody that's become a cause celeb of Hollywood gets preferential treatment over everyday Americans like the Marine, like the history teacher from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's appalling. It's disgusting. I want answers, and I want to know why the Marine and the history teacher were not included in this prisoner swap.
Well, is it fair for me, Congressman, to also show that this administration's priorities, and by extension the Democrat Party, because Joe Biden says he is the Democrat Party, Is it fair for me to say that they prioritize bringing home they want more anti-Americans in the United States, and those who believe in service, or those who you and I would consider good guys, like a teacher, those who we would consider to be a good guy, a U.S. Marine, the team Biden wants nothing to do with them back here in this country. Is that fair for me to assume?
Well, yes, it is fair. It's part of the disdain. I tell people back home that I'm just not complaining about how things are in D.C. and griping. There's actual legitimate grounds to the argument that people in D.C. inside the Beltway look down upon people in what they describe as flyover country, what I would describe as the heartland of America. I often tell people that they have nothing but disdain and disgust for everyday Americans. If you eat at a Cracker Barrel, if you shop at a Walmart, if you like to hunt, if you go to church on Sunday, they laugh at you, they mock you, and that's what goes on in D.C., that's what goes on in New York City and other coastal towns. It's because it's the elites not putting value on people that they perceive as just country bumpkins and hayseeds, and I think that's playing a lot into here. You can see their preferential treatment and the lack of value that they place on the history teacher, the lack of value they place on the Marine, while they elevate Brittany Griner, somebody who repeatedly criticizes the United States, democracy, and then she has just one taste of socialism, totalitarian regime in Russia, and we bring her back. Again, I applaud the administration on bringing back Griner. It was the right thing to do. What was wrong was not including Whelan and Fogel, the history teacher and the Marine, in this prisoner swap. And again, just weigh who we traded here. The merchant of death. Well, and we gave up the merchant of death for a professional basketball player rather than getting a few prisoners back. Yeah,
look at Afghanistan. This administration is practiced at leaving Americans behind. It's kind of what Democrats do in this administration. Last thing I have for you, the app TikTok, you and I both know, it's a Chinese spy app for the communist China regime. Every lawmaker on Capitol Hill knows, the FBI knows, everybody knows. It is a harmful app that is being used by our communist enemy to harm Americans, yet Congress refuses to act. Congressman, can you name some names? Why can't we not get this app thrown out of our country, sir?
Yeah, TikTok should be banned, Chris. I'm on the China task force. Kevin McCarthy put me on it. A lot of what we looked at is how the Chinese use what's called military-civilian fusion, meaning that if you're a corporation in China, that you have an obligation to cooperate with the Chinese Communist Party. You have an obligation to turn over data to the PLA, the People's Liberation Army. Eerily similar, I would say, to the beginning part of our conversation where big tech was coordinating with the DNC and bureaucrats, but I digress. But if you have TikTok, and your kids have TikTok, understand that the Chinese are collecting your data. They're storing all those ridiculous videos you're making on there, and they're waiting for you to become a congressman. They're waiting for you to be a president of a university, and they're going to blackmail you. And they're going to steal your data, and they're going to try to put the screws to you in the future if you ascend to any position of influence or power. And also, this is borderline psychological warfare on the United States because garbage and filth is being spewed on TikTok. If you look at the TikTok app in China, they will only allow wholesome videos on that platform, things that are complementary to the Chinese Communist Party, et cetera. So they're using it to bolster the Chinese Communist Party within mainland China and to wage what I would describe as psychological warfare, erode the confidence in the American people and our system of government, and again, collect damaging data on Americans while they're young. So delete TikTok, don't use it. If your kids use it, get rid of it. Yeah, thanks, Chris.
I'm with you, Congressman. My question was, who's the number one bad guy preventing us from acting and getting rid of it, just getting rid of it out of this country? Who's stopping us?
Well, look, Hunter Biden came back from China with literally $1 billion hedge fund that he controls. He has zero experience doing any kind of financial management. So I could connect dots all day. You know, I often say, I don't know what the Chinese Communist Party has on the Democratic Party. It's got to be something big because the Democrats will act to protect China. And they will, just like you're seeing with TikTok. Remember, President Trump wanted to get rid of TikTok, but a lot of these actors are kowtowing to the Chinese Communist Party. And again, you draw your own conclusions with Hunter Biden.
Okay. All right. Congressman Guy Reschenthaler, appreciate the time as always, sir. Merry Christmas. Still